She's calling Haridwar team also. And it will come with this. Yeah. You go with the platform. Come closer. Ati how is it? You ille barena.
Sorry if you want to take a little bit longer. I don't know what's going on with hardwire.
Well, Dr. Shivkumar is away, but apparently Surbi is supposed to be heading the. But Vrindavan should be on.
Yeah. For some reason, I think they're in a video call together, so we can't add them.
What was that?
For some reason, okay, never mind.
There is Vrindavan. Hello, Seema. How are you?
Hello, ma'am. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
We're waiting for everyone.
Hi.
Oh, there's Haridwar there too.
Yeah.
There she is. So, Jack, we have any luck with Valor? Dr. Asha there?
I don't see her on the screen. So what we should do, we'll just begin, and they'll probably join a little later, hopefully. Let me pull up the agenda here. Forgive me, my computer is so slow. I'm actually getting a new one very soon. All right, so awesome. All right, so first I just want to start with a couple introductions. Well, one really, because we have a special guest with us and someone who won't be a guest at future sessions. Hopefully this is another regular. Her name is Dr. Arti Shah. She's a pediatric endocrinologist, and she travels around the United States to help out where she's needed. She wanted to get involved. She saw an article about Dr. Gupta and wanted to help out. And we're dropping like flies here. Hold on, let me add them down. Oh, is my volume low, or are people not able to hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, Brenda, KLES, I don't, it seems everyone else can hear me. I would say turn up your speakers, and if you still have the issue, I can turn up my volume, if that's an issue. But anyway, so everyone, please just say hi to Dr. Shah. She's going to be a real good member of Pen Pals United. So anyway, so I wanted to go around and see if anyone has any special announcements from any of the sites. So Hardware, if you'd like to go first.
Yeah. Hello everyone. Today our special announcement is that we have Pari with us. She's on an insulin pump. So she's the first child from our group who is on a pump.
अभी हम लोग हरिद्वार से परी को इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं उनके पास में इंसुलिन तो वीडियो में वो इंसुलिन पंप के साथ से कैसा एक्सपीरियंस है
Can you see? This is the pump.
अभी की परी
निकाल के देखो
वीडियो में दिखा रहे हैं
Okay. This is a pump. इसकी sides दिखाने.
We're holding ours up too.
Pardon, sir?
You see, we're holding ours up too.
The voice isn't clear. Can you please repeat that?
I said
We're
holding
also-
our insulin pumps.
We're holding our insulin pumps also. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. You can show them to Pari, like she will feel good.
Are we still sorry?
Yeah. Anyway, so, can you ask her what does she think about the insulin pump?
Jack, can I call you again? There's a lot of disturbance coming. We are not
hold
able
on.
to hear you all clearly.
Can Isabel or either Hannah, can you take over for like a minute while I go find headphones?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
So,
I'll be right
Can you-
back.
okay. Can you just ask what she thinks about the insulin pump so far?
Yeah, sure. तुम्हें insulin pump के नाम के she's saying that it is a good thing.
And how has her life or day-to-day activities changed since she got it?
पहले मुझे 4 बार लगाना पड़ता था पर अब स्टेज में 1 बार लगाना पड़ता है.
Earlier she used to take 4 injections a day. Now she only takes 1 shot in a week.
And
Surbi, could you ask her if she really likes the pump, if she's really happy with the pump?
Yeah, sure. Pump आपको अच्छा लगा आप इसमें खुश हो?
Yeah. Good.
that's awesome.
That's so great.
Has there been any problems with it that you want to ask about? Or is it all been good so far?
Yeah, in the meanwhile, I'm calling his dad. He's gonna share the experience.
कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
There's no problem with the pump.
Great.
मेट्रॉनिक्स पंप है
It's an hydraulic pump.
और इसको 5 डेज में एक बार केवल वो पैच लगाना पड़ता है. एक बार निडल अंदर जाती है बस. उसके बाद जो 4 बार लगाना पड़ता था वो नहीं लगाना पड़ता.
She get rid of the 4 injections that she used to take earlier, and now in a week she gets only 1 shot. So they're very much happy with it.
That's great. And how long has she been on the pump?
About 2 months, last 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Last 2
Good.
Okay. And how about in school? Has there been any questions or anything regarding it?
He wants to share her story.
Okay. Okay.
परी शुरू में इंसुलिन पंप लगा था तो 4-5 दिन बाद अपनी फ्रेंड के घर गई जैसे तो उसने
when she was on the insulin pump, she got the insulin pump. She went to her friend's house.
तो उसको क्यूरियोसिटी हुई कि व्हाट इज दिस.
Her friend was very curious to know about the pump.
तो उसने इसको छेड़ा जिसकी वजह से 10 यूनिट इसके इंसुलिन चला गया था.
Her friend just played with the pump and unfortunately she pressed the button of the insulin due to which 10 units was taken by Pari.
Due to this hypoglycemia.
She injected 10 units extra. Due to this, she was in hypo.
ये बताया कि स्टार्टिंग में उनको जब
उसके बाद हमें कैसे पता लगा पंप में एक ऑप्शन है जिसमें दिखता है कि पीछे कितनी बार दिया गया है.
We were unaware of this that her friend played with her pump and she has taken 10 minutes extra. But with the help of the history that
After that, lock the pump.
After that, they locked the pump. Okay. So that this thing doesn't happen further.
Surbhi, could you ask her if she's still like happy to show all of her friends her new pump, even though that happened?
No, she didn't show them to anyone.
Okay.
She is afraid of that.
Well, you should tell her that even though that was a bad experience, and obviously we have to learn from them, that she shouldn't be afraid to show people her pump. She should just be really careful as to who's going to touch the pump, because she's the one that should be doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yes, definitely.
Okay. Thank you for.
And also, I think a point that I think all of us would agree with, and Surbhi, and if everyone could translate this, is that, like, think about it, if you're trying to go to school one day, there are many different ways to get to school. Some ways are faster than others. Some ways are more convenient than others. Some ways are more efficient. But at the end of the day, they all get you to school. So there are many different, just like that, there are many different ways to care for your diabetes. So some people, insulin pump might work for them. For some people, insulin shot therapy might work for them. So there's more than one way to be healthy with diabetes. So if you see a pump, don't be, at least for me, like when I was first diagnosed, I was very intimidated by people who had pumps and people who had all this great technology, because I knew nothing about it. And I thought, oh my gosh, like there's no way I can have as good as blood sugars as them. But you can have really great blood sugars by doing shots. You can have really great blood sugars by doing insulin pump therapy. But also know that an insulin pump, like, there are some downsides to it. It can malfunction, and your insulin shots don't malfunction in the same ways. So, there are many different ways to get to the same place. And just know that. So it's just something that you have to talk to your doctor about, like what's right for you.
Okay, sure, Jack. I will convey the same to them.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you for your advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how you guys feel with your pump? Like, is it an interesting thing, or is it like very much boring thing? Like you always have to carry it. Sometimes irritation occurs. So how you feel with it?
I'll answer first. Yes. So I actually just got my pump 2 months ago, like the little girl that was with you. So I'm also really new to the pump, and I think I really like it. I think it's a little more responsibility than injections, because you have to make sure that it's always working and that you can keep your blood sugars in a good range. Because of the malfunctions that Jack was just talking about. But I do think it makes me feel more like I can live an everyday life without having to worry so much about making sure that I'm taking the insulin when I need to be taking it. So I really like it. Yeah.
That's awesome, Linda. That's awesome.
And then on the flip side, I've had my pump for 11 years, so I got it when I was only, like Isabella, I had just been diagnosed. So, to me, it's kind of, like, I don't really remember being on shots as much. So, to me, carrying the pump has become sort of a part of me. So if I leave my house, which doesn't often happen without my pump, I feel like something's missing. It's just after a while, I think it becomes kind of a part of you. You don't notice it's there as much. And I think neither do my friends or anyone. So, just as a side note.
Yeah, Hannah, I also feel the same with my sticks. When I forgot wearing them, then I feel that something is missing. So I can understand that the same thing is happening with you.
Right, exactly.
I will look further to go on a pump, but at present I'm very much okay with the injections. Like we just need to keep our blood sugar perfect in whatever way we can, and if we are okay with the injections, then we can go with injections, and if we are okay with the pump, then we can go with it, right?
Right. It's a personal preference, so whatever works for you, the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, many of you, if I could just say something, many of you remember Gary Hall, the Olympic gold medalist, who was on our program 2 years ago, and he even now just does the injections. He doesn't use the pump. And there were times when he was training for Olympics, he would check his blood sugar, 30, 40 times a day. And he took several injections a day. So everyone has a path. So I feel that pump is very convenient, but pump is also a lot of work, as you all have noticed. There is a learning curve. So we all have to learn that. And once you get used to it, then you can troubleshoot your problems. But the problem with small places in India is there's not that much support available 24 hours a day. And there are not very many people who are on pump, especially children. So that makes it harder. So I'm glad that, Pari is on pump. And I think she'll also go through her learning period. But eventually, I think, she'll get used to it. And we had another patient in Haridwar who went on pump and found it so inconvenient that very quickly, he gave up. So the idea is don't give up, stay with it. It's a lot of work, but you'll get there. But if you don't want to do it, it's okay. And even if you're on pump, you still have to have a backup for your insulin shots. So I just want to take this opportunity. I think Vrindavan has just joined in, that all of you have met Dr. Aarti Shah, She's in the United States, and she's like a pediatric endocrinologist, just like me. And I'm really very happy to have her on board. And I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot more of her. And so I want every one of you to welcome. And everybody else has introduced, and I don't think she has met Dr. Swami Dayamurtinanda at Vrindavan. And there he is. And so, how are you? So this is Arti. So Swami Dayamurtinanda, he's my coordinator of the program at Vrindavan. So he's the one who is in charge of the diabetes education. So go on, Dr. Prabhakar.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Which place you are from, Dr. Arati? In US, which place?
I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I grew up in Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
No, right now you are placed at?
Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where I live. I travel for work, but I live in Cincinnati.
When you come down, Gujarat and UP are close by. Please come and visit us.
Definitely. The next trip I'm going to come out there.
And Haridwar and Vrindavan are close by.
Yeah, my next visit, I'm going to have to come up there.
Well, one thing I would say that people from Gujarat are considered, where Arti is originally from, they are considered very sweet people. And I mean, they are literally very sweet because Gujarat has the highest incidence of diabetes. So I'm very happy to have Arti here, and I think now you met everybody. And Laura isn't here today. Anybody knows where Dr. Asha is?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay. All right. So, yours, Jack.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Thank you, Dr. Gupta, for that. So I don't know. Let me pull up the agenda real quick again. So I think this would be a good time because as part of like deciding whether an insulin pump is right or wrong for you, I think it also, there are differences based on gender. I've heard time and time and again that girls tend to be a little more wary of insulin pumps because they want less to hold on to their clothes, whereas guys care less about that. I don't know if Isabella or Hannah, if that's true, or if you want to talk about any of that.
Well, I know for me at least, something I'm always a little concerned about is where I'm putting the site in. So like over the summer, I usually won't put it in my arm because, I'll be wearing short sleeves and I don't want it, maybe the site to be showing or exposed as much. So that's one thing that I usually think about. Isabel, do you?
Yeah, sorry, I can't see Hannah's face, so I don't know when she's talking or not.
Oh, no.
So for me, I found, it is a little uncomfortable, just with the site location like Hannah was talking about, and, I'm not super concerned about having to carry it around with me. I tend to wear a lot of pants just because of my lifestyle. I don't feel like to wear dresses or something like that, maybe it's a concern. I just try to kind of look at the overall benefit of using a pump.
versus being too concerned with kind of the smaller things like that. But I think if it's important to you, it's something to consider. So, like everyone's been saying, everything just depends on your lifestyle and if you want the pump or not. So.
And there's also ways to work around it. So, like Isabella was saying, when wearing a dress, I usually just wear shorts underneath the dress with a pocket and put my pump in the pocket and dress over it. So there's ways to work around it. If you want to wear the pump, I don't think worrying about, you'll be able to work it into an outfit if you want to.
Yeah.
Now, is there anyone of you on pod? I think Jack, aren't you on pod?
No, I'm on Medtronic.
Oh, I thought you were on pod for a while.
I was for a little bit, but I didn't have a good experience with it. That was my personal experience, but yeah.
Yeah, there are some wireless pods, where you just stick it on and there are no wires hanging. So there are lots of options. And, but I know in our department we have 2 people who are adults and who had type 1 diabetes all their life. And they don't really care. They just slap it on their arm or somewhere, and they're both endocrinologists, and they'd be working in the hospital, and the pod is there, and everybody knows that they have a pod on them, and they're very comfortable. So, and there's so many people around on the pump that it's not a big deal, whether it shows or not. So,
yeah. Did any of the sites, Vrindavan Hardware or KLES, did you bring a pump insertion site to show?
Yes.
No, we do not have any patient on pump in Vrindavan.
Sorry, Belgaum, can you say that again?
Yes. Firstly, I would like to convey regards and greetings from Dr. M.V. Jali and Sujata Jali to Dr. Asha, Dr. Aarti Shah. Can you hear me, Jack?
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes.
So, biannually we release a magazine which includes education and awareness of diabetes. That we release, and the author is Dr. M.V. Jali. On 26th January, Republic Day, and 15th August, Independence Day, we release this magazine in English and local languages. So we had CGMS, an article on CGMS, and in regional language and in English. So these are being released biannually, creating more and more awareness to the people. And we have 2 patients with us, like children with us, who are on pump. And today I have one, Dhanashri. She's recently joined us, and she will share more experiences of her using a pump. And 2 others, Mayur and Atik, they are planning to go for a pump. They both are engineering students, and they have future plans to go for a pump. So, Dhanashri will share her experiences on pump. No, how many years?
ने बताया कि उनके यहाँ पर हर 15 अगस्त और 26 जनवरी को इवेंट लॉन्च होती है जिसमें डायबिटीज के बारे में
Hi, morning.
I've been using this pump since 2 years, and it's actually a best part for a diabetic patient to use this pump, as you can control your sugar levels, and you can eat sweets if you want, and then that's a better part of the pump, I can say. For me, I don't have to think 100 times before having some sweets. So then I feel this is the best part of technology what we have. So And yeah, actually, I'm encouraging the others also that the pump is the best part and they can go on it.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the picture of the cat.
That's right.
Yeah, I got it.
Go right ahead.
That doesn't look like Dr. Asha at Welcome. I'm glad, that you're there to share your experience, but I think the message still is that whether you're on injections or you're on pump, you still have to follow the diet. And the pump does not make you free of dietary restrictions. You still have to, because bottom line is still to keep your A1C and avoid hypoglycemia. So it just makes it easier, but it does not really, give you the freedom to eat anything that you want to eat, because basic principles stay the same. Thank you. Over.
Yeah. Yeah, actually my mom is strict on my diet. She is usually like, I shouldn't have this, that, and she makes sure that I'm having salad every day, and then that's it. Yeah, when we are with friends, we can, eat something different. So,
Right.
So, Aarti, do you have any comments or anything to say?
Well, in my experience with other kids on pumps, I think it's personal preference whether it's going to be beneficial or not. Because for some people it benefits them and some people it bothers them carrying something around. But if you really want to be on it, you'll make it work. So I think I've had similar experiences.
Yeah. I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to hear if any site had brought an injection site for the pump. Vrindaban, Hardwar, Asha, or Dr. Belgam.
That we have query whether she is already on the pump, so she can show an injection site.
Okay. Yeah, we can take a look at that, Surbi. Belgam, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
No, actually, we did not understood what you said. It was because you were not that clear, so not audible. What you asked the question, can you please just repeat that?
Yeah. Do you have a pump infusion site with you?
No.
Okay.
I think
all right.
Vrindavan should have. I left several infusion sites.
Yeah. We're going to say.
Yeah, Vrindavan has the supplies.
I also have one, Jack, if you want me to put it in like a pillow or a stuffed animal or something.
Right. No, the
hydraulic model? Yes,
Yeah, there she is. She has that. So there's her pump and there's her.
Okay. Hannah, could you do are you able to do a quick demonstration?
Yep, I'm on my phone just for this.
Okay, great. So Hannah's going to do a very quick demonstration of how you do the infusion site for your pump, because as you know, it can be
this is one of the main differences between insulin shot therapy, and the pump, because you are always connected to the pump theoretically. Even when you're sleeping, you can also, but you are not connected to it when you are like in a shower, in the bathtub, or in water. But otherwise, you're connected to it. And so Hannah's going to show us how you create the connection to your body. So all yours, Hannah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Your video we can't see your video, so we won't be able to see what you are doing. So can I call you back? I guess the video will be available.
Okay.
Okay, I'm calling you back.
So I'll just show what I'm about to do before I do it. We can wait for hardcore. But basically, so your pump connects in here where the wire connects is where the insulin is. So the insulin is in there, and this wire is connected to the infusion site in me. So to put the insulin in the pump, you draw up your cannula just like you would draw up a syringe to give insulin. So, okay. As far as putting the infusion site in, we have here my infusion site. I take off the tape and take it out of the container. And this is the wire that connects to where I would put my insulin. When I unwind the wire, and you can see here, you can see the needle. It's so tiny. I don't even know if you can see it so great. This is it compared to my pinky. So it's pretty small.
That's good,
and that comes out. It doesn't all stay in. So I take off the tape, and this is now the sticky part that sticks onto my body. Pull back, and if this is me, I would just I put it on top. I press, I usually count 1, 2, 3, push on both sides, and it went in so fast that I don't even know if it was clear video. But I can do it again, just to show one more time. Pull it back. 1, 2, 3, push, and it's in. And then what happens is take this out. It's a little hard of a surface right now because the surface isn't as flexible as skin, but I take that out, and what's left is the infusion site on the body, and the needle over here comes out. So the needle's no longer in the glove. Just the infusion site, which when you're going in the shower or the pool, you can disconnect and then connect right back in. And they come in different colors, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I thought now, so after Hannah did that, if I'm going to ask Alex a question, because I know one of the main concerns with a pump is, not with the technology, but like what other people think about it, that you see this extra device on you. They think it's a cell phone, they think it's a beeper, they think it's, some crazy device or whatever. So Alex can speak from the non-diabetic perspective. Go ahead, Alex.
Okay. I hope you all can hear me. So I don't know, I joined a little bit late, so I just want to say hey to everyone. It's been a long time since Jack has, talked to me about it. I think from what I remember, it was never something that was really, I never saw it as being something unusual or odd. It kind of always just looked like a piece of Jack's clothing, if that makes sense. It was always something that you kind of see every now and again, but it was really not, it was something I called attention. Jack explained to me one day because he had actually taken it off, and he was like, oh, this is my insulin pump, and he was talking about how it worked, and I was personally very interested. I thought it was, I very much enjoyed hearing about it. And so, I don't know, I think sometimes, especially perhaps for younger kids, it might be something that seems like a toy. And I think in those circumstances, it might be important to say, no, you shouldn't, you shouldn't play with it or, press buttons. But I think for someone who knew nothing about it prior to talking to Jack, if he hadn't really shown it to me, I probably wouldn't have asked, or I would have never seen it. It's something I think it's very discreet, and so I think if it ever does come up in conversation, I feel like people would be very interested to know and hear this aspect of your life. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah. I know Alex mentioned the discrete factor. At least from my experience, I found the pump to be more discreet than shots, because with shots I would have to go to the nurse's office if I didn't want people to see. But with the pump, I literally press a few buttons. No one notices a thing. It's very quick. And so in that respect, it's not only discreet, but also pretty liberating, because it saves you a lot of time and hassle. But again, there are pluses and minuses to it. Some people think the pump is more hassle than shots. It's just very specific to the person. And I have so many. I have, as Hannah and Isabel will tell you, we all have very funny stories about the pump. Just like what people, I had some teachers tell me to put away my cell phone as I was giving myself insulin. I had a teacher tell me to put away my beeper once, as if kids even had beepers. I guess what I'm just trying to say is that it's, and I know we're probably beating a dead horse here and saying it's a little too much, but it's just very specific to the person, to you, to what you want and what you need, because the pump can also be, it's a lot of money, it's high maintenance. The pump costs a lot, and a lot of the cost is in, you need the steady stream of supplies and technical support. If you don't have that, then I don't recommend the pump. It's just as simple as that. That's step number one. Do you have the financial resources to ensure a steady stream of supplies? If you don't, then the pump is not worth it. But if you do have those resources, then it is worth looking into. But again, there are many different steps along the way. So that's just something to consider.
And also, just very quick side note, I didn't show that taking out a site is basically just like taking out a Band-Aid. So you just kind of peel it off. Just thought I would mention that very quickly before we continued.
Yeah, thanks, Anna.
Well, it seems like that Valor has just joined in. So, Valor, can you hear us? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. And
yeah.
One thing we have, I want to introduce, I want you to meet Dr. Aarti Shah. She's a pediatric endocrinologist, and she has joined our team, and we're very happy to have her on board. And as you know, we are discussing pump today, so if you'd like to introduce yourself and your experience with the pump.
Yeah. Welcome, Dr. Aarti. This is Dr. Sadiq here, and along with me is Dr. Riddhi and Dr. Geetu on my right. So I would hand over to Dr. Riddhi just to explain about the pump and the things that we do here with the pumps and the continuous monitoring systems.
Yeah, hello and welcome to everybody. So we have been listening in on the discussions, and it's been quite interesting. I think what the last discussion was regarding the financial resources and the ability to maintain a continuous source of supplies, that has been a key area for us also, given the type of patients whom we take care of. To be very honest, most of them, majority of them do suffer from a lack of financial resources to continue using the pump, which I think is a reality for most centers across the country. Having said that, we do have had good experiences with the pump. We had one lady with type 1 diabetes, and during her pregnancy, I remember she initially had a bad obstetric history, and subsequently during the pregnancy, we had successfully managed the pregnancy with the help of an insulin pump. And we now have one of our staff, also staff nurses, who happen to be using the pump. Beyond that, I think we are still in the phase of trying to motivate and educate people about the advantages of the pump, but the financial constraint has been the main barrier, which has really not allowed us to have a very large number of people using the pump. So that has been our main experience with the long-term use of the pump. Given its advantages and however much we may like to use it in our patients, at the end of the day, it's ultimately how much the patient can afford and how long he can use it. That is what should be the main consideration.
Well, thank you for your perspective, and I think you put it very rightly. This is a very expensive way of managing your diabetes. And you mentioned about the management during pregnancy. Obviously, that is a challenging situation, and pump is extremely helpful. But our experience in Haridwar will tell you that we have about now 4 young girls who have been married and have given birth to 4 healthy children. And these were, of course, all our patients are from resource-poor communities, but we were then able to manage them with multiple daily injections. So I think the message is that you can accomplish the same thing by using multiple daily injections. And the frustrating part for me sometimes is that my patients get so in USA, they get so dependent on the pump, and they will be traveling, and then I get a call, oh, I forgot my backup Galargin at home. And so that's something you have to keep in mind, that the pumps do fail, and they fail at the most opportune time, and then you have to scramble around and try to get the syringes and so forth. So I think it's important that we are doing this session, that so people who can't afford the pump, they know what pump is all about, but at the same time, they should be reassured that we can do the same thing by doing MDI. Over.
And it also, I think it would be important to acknowledge, or it is important to acknowledge that that pumps aren't so much changing the method in which you're working with your diabetes. It doesn't suddenly enable you to do all these different things that you weren't able to in the past. It just enables you to sort of fine tune the control you might be able to have, or if you're very carefully managing your diabetes, it can be helpful in that regard, but it's not totally changing everything. So I think it's important to acknowledge that it, like Dr. Gupta and Jack were saying, there are advantages and disadvantages, especially I think in some ways the pump isn't as helpful for nighttime control.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Vrindavan, do you have something to add?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Tosh. My question is to Hannah. Can you please explain how do you use it on any average day from morning till night?
Did you get that, Jack or Dr. Gupta?
No. Can you repeat the question, please, Vrindavan?
Can you explain it? How do you use it from morning till any average day? Your insulin pump.
How do you use it on an average day?
Okay. So like injections, you use the pump whenever you eat and whenever you need to give insulin. So when I wake up in the morning and I test my blood sugar and eat breakfast, I also pull out my pump, and without giving insulin, I can show I would put in the blood sugar. I don't know if it's clear enough, but I would basically, you enter the blood sugar and how many carbs you're about to eat, and it calculates how much insulin you get. So, I'll test my blood sugar, give my insulin, then maybe later in the day I test my blood sugar again in between breakfast and lunch, and if it's high, I can give insulin. If it's low, I can, it's called a suspend. I can turn my pump off for a little bit. Then lunch comes, sugar, give my insulin. So basically it's just it's accessible. In one day I'm able to give myself as many doses of insulin as I need to, basically, to account for the food I'm eating and for my blood sugars.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I just want to make a point. It doesn't necessarily mean that you could eat 10 times a day and then you can give 10 boluses.
Right.
Because the last thing you want to do is to stack up. In other words, you can stack up boluses over boluses over boluses, and then you really get into trouble.
Yeah,
so there is a lot of learning experience, and then it's something that you're continuously educating yourself, and it gives you actually more responsibility, not less responsibility. It's actually more work. So I just wanted to get across that.
Right. I can't go and eat, as many carbs as I want all the time, all day, eat, like 5 meals. I have to still stick to a pretty much standard schedule of eating and giving myself insulin, but it is more excessive, like that's not the right word.
Yeah, I mean, at least from my experience, I've, the near convenience of the pump in terms of you don't have to, because you don't have to go to someplace secluded to do your shots, because you don't have to get everything out, because you just have to press a few buttons. It's easier to just eat something and just bolus, but that's a double-edged sword because like Dr. Gupta said, you can stack up insulin, and it's a lot easier, at least in my experience, to gain weight on the pump because eating is just easier. It's a deterrence, at least for a person with diabetes, to eat something if you're like, oh, well, I have to give myself a shot. I don't want to have to do that, so I'm not going to eat something. It's a lot easy. It's easy just to grab a snack, bolus quickly, and that's that. So you gain weight very easily. So it's just something to keep in mind. But and I don't mean to just say way too much information, but a big advantage of the pump on the other side is Alex said that you can fine-tune things. So, like with your Lantus insulin, that's a constant rate all day, at least for most of the day, that is. But with the pump, if you find that different days your baseline insulin needs are different, you can change that very easily. So at least for me, I have very low basal rates throughout the day. So the pump's version of Lantus is called a basal rate. It's just that small amount of insulin that's constantly delivered to keep, just to prevent the natural rise in your blood sugars from your own body. And, excuse me, so for me, from my experience, throughout the day, my basal rate is very low because I'm very active. I'm walking to class, I'm exercising, and I'm bolusing more. So I don't need as much basal. But at nighttime, when I'm asleep, especially around 3 a.m., due to something called the dawn phenomenon, I don't know if people have ever heard of that, my basal rates are double or triple what they are during the day. So it's just, with Lantus, if I just had Lantus, I would have to, I'd be in a dilemma because I'd be like, during the day, I don't need all that much Lantus, but at night, I need a ton of Lantus. But like you said, Lantus is just one constant, it's one shot, one constant stream throughout the entire day. But at baby, you can really customize it, which is awesome. I'm sorry if that's confusing. I don't know if anyone wants to clarify that.
No, I think what Jack is saying, Jack has brought up a very important point. What Jack has talked about is fine-tuning. That kind of fine-tuning, there's no way you could go with the multiple dose injections. But it takes a particular person to be able to and who would want to do that kind of a fine-tuning. And I'm not sure, but I know Jack used to wear the sensor with it. So if you combine the insulin pump and a sensor, especially, if you wear the sensor 24 hours a day, boy, you could really fine-tune. So that is one extreme. But I want to tell you a little bit of my experience on both ends, in India and also here. In United States, and I want to throw this question in to people who are in United States, Jack and Hannah and Isabel. Sometimes I find a peer pressure in my patient. They say, oh, so-and-so knows pump, I need the pump. So it's just like, it's a thing. My friend has it, my neighbor has it, so I need to have it. It's just like, you have diabetes, how come you don't have pump? Well, your pump may not be right for you. So that's the wrong reason. And then when I was in India, I was asked to give a lecture to some pumpers. So I gathered a few families and I'm talking to them, and it's just like a status symbol. Well, I have diabetes, but so what? I'm on pump. I'm just so much better than anybody else, and my diabetes will be taken care of. Now that's the wrong attitude, because pump is not a status symbol, and the pump will not take care of your diabetes. Just because you're on the pump, that you're in a higher category and good control is automatic. So that's not a right attitude. And I think, so we need to be sure that the pump is a lot of work, and it's up to you if you just want to use it as a convenience. But if you want to combine it with a 24-hour sensor, you could really fine-tune that. And I think Jack brought up that point. So whatever you invest in your pump, that's what you're going to get. Over.
And I can just add one thing. In my experience, I've had some people tell me that when they are forgetting to take their insulin, they think getting on the pump is going to solve that and help them get their diabetes under control when they're having troubles controlling it, because they're forgetting to take it. But like Dr. Gupta mentioned, is that it's still a lot of work. You still have to use the pump to give yourself the insulin. So it won't take place of taking the insulin. It's just a different method, and it's still work to do. So that's what I've had some folks tell me. So.
Does anyone have, or any sites have any questions about the pump?
Yeah, Jack, we have Pari with us. Earlier, a girl, Dhanshri, I guess Dhanshri is her name, has shared her experience with the insulin pump, and she's on the pump from last 2 years. So Pari wants to ask her a question.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Dhanshri, she wants to ask you how can she tell her friends regarding the pump? If she has met an accident earlier, how to tell her friends about the pump?
What?
That's her question.
How to tell her friends about the pump?
I don't tell them about the pump. They usually ask me about what is this. I just say that this is a machine which I usually like to carry with me, and then you don't really need to answer them what the pump is, and you don't need to show them also. It's because it will be inside your body. If at all they ask you, you be bold and just tell. It's an insulin pump, since because you're a diabetic patient, you need to use it. And I don't think so it's something bad in telling what is the truth. Right? You can just tell them that since you're a diabetic patient, you're using it like normal for a good control also. That's it. And why do you need to show them a pump?
One thing I would say, in India I have been very careful not using two terms. Number one, I don't say that, I don't want my patient to say, I'm suffering from diabetes. We have taken the word suffering out because you're not suffering. This is sending a wrong message to the population. I also encourage them not to say, I'm a diabetic. Because you're whoever you are first that. I am Asha, or I am Surbi, or I am this and this. My body doesn't make any insulin, so I take the insulin from outside. That's all. I don't even say you have to say diabetes. You have just to describe that. Oh yes, this is my pump, and this is what I use to give myself insulin. My body doesn't make insulin, so I have to take the insulin from outside. And if somebody says, and then my next sentence is, I'm no different than you. Because when you eat, your own body gives you an injection. I just have to take it from outside. So I put a positive tone to it. I'm not suffering. I'm not diabetic first. I am so and so. My body doesn't make any insulin. I take insulin from outside, and this helped me to give the insulin from outside.
Yeah, but in India, there are some people who are like, they take it negatively, like you are a diabetic patient and so on. So recently only I had this experience. It made me sound low, but again then I thought those people doesn't matter me a lot. I shouldn't think what they think for me. I should think what I should think for myself. And so that's the way, and you should be bold enough to face everything. What I think is, like, how Indians are. I'm not insulting, but the thing is, they usually do it. So that's a problem. Don't poke your nose in others' life, right? That is the better thing. You should concentrate on what your own business is. And they did this to me. Recently only I had this experience in my new college that when my professor came to know about that I'm a diabetic patient, he behaved very kind of, rude with me. But then that made me think about why do I have to think about that man who just doesn't matter me. And then that's okay. And yeah, actually that was the part which I faced.
Well, I'm so happy that you're expressing what you are expressing. But at the same time, I can see you are a fighter. You're not going to let other people define you. So I think you have a strong message to say to them, and one day you'll be able to stand and say, oh yes, Mr. Professor, there's not a whole lot of difference between you and me. Perhaps I am braver than you because my body doesn't make insulin and that doesn't make me a patient because I have taken control of my life. So you give it right back to them. But in the first place, I have worked very hard for all my centers. For the last 3 years, I've worked with all my centers and I said, stop the word, I'm suffering from diabetes. I'm not suffering. I am not a diabetic. I am so and so and I have diabetes. So and I'm so happy what you had to say.
Thank you.
Then Shri, that's a very good thing that you're very much confident about your diabetes. I also know what the people in India think when we tell them about us. And I've noticed that why we face this condition. This is just because of the lack of knowledge in India. They have educated so many people over here in a group. And after knowing the reality, after going through what exactly diabetes is, they are very much comfortable with other kids. They are like, wow, you're very strong. So they always encourage them. We just need to educate them. We don't need to think that they think so, then they are our enemy. We just need to tell them the right thing. And if they have the right knowledge, and I'm sure that they will understand us. Right?
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
but
thank
you know,
thank
the
you, Survey, because I think you are
right. So we don't need to educate that person. He's actually educated man, and he shouldn't think like that way for a diabetes patient. That was only my question. Well, that doesn't matter me a lot, so I'm okay with it.
good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You should always be confident in whatever you are. And that's the key to success in life.
Yeah, thank you.
So that is the basis of this support group, where we come together as from different points, but we have one connection, like Jack would say, that we are all connected because we have this one connection. And it's a powerful connection. And through this connection, we can empower everyone. And after all, it's not what I say, it's what person who has T1D, what they feel. So hopefully, over the last several years, both Hannah, Jack, and all the mentors, and Isabel and so forth, they are trying to convey one message, that you're normal, you're strong, you can do anything you want to, and don't let the other people define you. You define yourself. And you use your diabetes as a springboard to get more success in your life, not less. And I think Survey and all these people, they are really a good examples. They fight this every day, and they come over and share these stories, and that empowers other people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And only about that, Professor, but rather than that, I have many papers to support me for this. And everything is like, I don't take diabetes as a negative side of my life. I always think it is my positive side, because after all, everybody should learn from an experience, Alina. Then I've never taken this as my negative thing, what I got in my life. I usually think it's like something very positive to my life, and I'm happy with it, in fact, I can say.
Well, I know on this last World Diabetes Day, when I was at Haridwar, one of the child, he gave me a poster. And the poster said, we like to do the things that people think we can't. We like to do the things that people think that we can't. And that's what he lives by. So I think this is what we want to see, that all our patients, all people with type 1 diabetes, they are people first, diabetes second, and they can fight it, and they can tell people and show people how normal you are. Valor, any comment? Any comment from
yes,
ma'am.
Basically, I tell my patient diabetes is not a disease. It is a deficiency state, especially type 1 diabetes. So for comparison, I tell my patient, like, when you have vitamin deficiency, what do? You take vitamins, okay, either as a oral supplements or an injection. Same way, the diabetes is an insulin deficiency state. It's not a disease unless it's controlled, okay. If it's uncontrolled, yeah, you get other system is affected and you have a disease. So it is a deficiency state, and I keep telling my patients that, okay, the problem is that the mode of treatment, the treatment comes with an injections. So it's a deficiency state, and all my patients are not a disease, okay. They just come to me so that, okay, they don't progress to a disease state. It's a deficiency state is what I keep telling my patients. And one of our patients, Mr. Shankar, who's a type 1 diabetes patient who was diagnosed 5 years back, he's with us today and he wants to ask some question. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, my question is that you were saying something about insulin pump. So my question is that how long can we use one insulin pump? Means what's the life of an insulin pump in our body?
Right. So it depends on which pump you have, but generally it's about 2 to 3 days until you need to change the actual infusion set. But the physical insulin pump can last years. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You can use it lifelong as long as you continue to fill the reservoir. Most of the time people here change because a newer model has come in, so they upgrade their pump. But otherwise you could use it all your life.
Hi guys, myself Mayur, and I have one question.
Yes.
Right now I am using pen injections, but I am thinking now to use the pump. I want to know, what are the major precautions I have to take before and after wearing of the pump? Major precautions, because while playing there is some problem for that device. So what are the precautions I have to take?
Yeah. Jack, do you want to handle that? Well, what does he want to do when he's playing
Sorry. My headphones cut out at the very end of your question. Can you repeat the end?
What are the precautions I have to take care before and after wearing of the pump?
Before and after what?
Wearing the pump. Like with playing sports activity.
Okay, yeah. So
sports activity?
Yeah. So with sports specifically, my best advice is that it's trial and error because different sports affect the pump differently. So first, with water sports, the obvious answer is you just can't wear it in the pool or in the water, wherever you are. So you have to make sure that that you get out of the water on occasion to give yourself some insulin if your body needs it. With contact sports like football, American soccer, or everywhere else it's called football. But you'll have to be careful with the pump because you have to make a decision whether you want to wear it on the field or not. I've seen some people wear it. I've seen some people not. You'll have to make a decision as to whether you want to risk it falling or someone bumping into it. There are also, and I'm not sure of their availability internationally, but in the United States we have protective covers for pumps. So if someone bumps into it, at least there's lesser risk of it damaging. What I did from my personal experience, so in high school I swam and did water polo. So what I would do is I would take the pump off, of course, before I went in the water, and then I would get out like 2 or 3 times during practice or a game and just see if I needed to give myself a bolus of insulin. So because you don't have Lantus in you, so, and I don't want to get too complicated here, but so if you didn't have the pump, you have insulin already working in you. You have Lantus, it's always going on. But if you have a pump and that's off, you don't have your basal rate in you, so you don't need as much to eat, and your body's natural rise is occurring. And I know that's very technical, but basically you just have to get out of the pool more and check, just to see if you need insulin or you need food or whatnot. In middle school, when I had the pump and I played soccer, I did not wear the pump on the field, and that's because it fell off my hip, bit my shorts too much, and that's just a huge hassle because the sight would fall out, it would tug, it would do this and that. So you just have to be careful, and this is my number one piece of advice, is don't be deceived by not having the pump on, that like you're safe from highs and lows, or don't be deceived, because you are still susceptible. Like, you got to remember, you're not getting insulin during that time, so make sure you have to get out and check. And I apologize for getting too technical, but I just want to give you the most honest answer. If you do get the pump, and I'm at a future support group, ask me specifically about this, because I'll be able to give you more targeted advice. I don't want to get too technical right now. Does that help?
Yeah.
Did that answer your question? Hello?
The other thing I want to add, I can't believe I forgot to say this, and I think this is probably the most basic thing that how an insulin pump affects exercise. The pump can do something called a temporary basal rate. So a temporary basal rate overrides, I can tell my pump, all right, I am going to go exercise for the next 2 hours, and it's going to be really vigorous exercise. If you decide to keep your pump on, or an hour or two before you go to exercise, you can tell your pump to give less insulin. So that means you have a less likelihood of hypoglycemia during your exercise, because there's simply less insulin in your body for your exercise to activate. So again, that's very technical, but I didn't want to leave that part out. So again, it's all about the fine-tuning that the insulin pump allows. But the other side of that is it's a lot more work, and it requires more expertise to understand how that all works. And I know it's getting late, so if anyone has any really pressing questions, go ahead and ask them, and just jump in real quick. If I don't hear anything, then we'll just move on to ending the support group. Okay, so I'll consider that no one has any really pressing questions. I just want to thank everyone for coming to the support group. This was a really great discussion. I apologize if it got technical or too technical at times, but I think we covered a lot. And as always, just remember that we all share that same connection of type 1 diabetes, even though we live many miles apart. So thank you to our guest, Dr. Shah, Dr. Archie Shah. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and you're of course welcome at future support groups, and we're glad to have you part of our team. And thank you to Isabella and Hannah. And Isabella, good luck on hearing back from medical schools, and Hannah, about your college decision process.
Thank you.
And Alex is currently writing a thesis. So everyone, send your heart, I guess, how would you say this? either your condolences or your your or your congratulations. Your congratulations for all of his hard work.
Yeah. Go, Alex, go.
Go.
Let's go. Move them
Yeah. Thanks. I think Hannah and Isabella probably need your support more than I do at the moment. Mine's not due until May. So.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah. But everyone's doing important work. Hannah, did you want to say? I couldn't tell.
No. I was just going to say.
Does anybody have a quote?
A quote?
Yeah, I have a quote to share.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. The quotation is, the elevator to success is out of order. You will have to use the stairs. That is one step at a time.
Very good. Very good. Yeah,
thank you so much.
You always have such wonderful quotes, every one of them, and I always enjoy that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say one quick.
Yes. Go ahead, Seema.
Respect yourself and you will be respected.
Respect yourself and you will be respected. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
The quote, for me, it is like strength is life and weakness is death. Never lose your strength.
What's in that? Actually good.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So, Hannah, what is the next date? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
Mine's from Albert Einstein. Life is like a bicycle. You just have to keep moving to keep balance.
Yep.
Exactly.
I like that.
Great job. It's really awesome that today we got to know so many quotes.
Yes. But Hannah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was going to say that as far as the next meeting, the 4th Sunday of March is Easter. So I'm not sure. Should we do it the week before?
That is April, March, you mean?
Yeah. The 27th is Easter, so maybe the 20th would work better. The 19th and the 20th.
I decide because I'm going to be away for at the end of March. So whatever is convenient to everybody else.
Yeah. So that'll be the 19th of March?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be on vacation, so I don't think that would work for me, but don't let me hold at you guys back.
Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't make a difference to me as far as Easter, so as long so maybe the 27th would actually be better.
Yeah, I think, well, it would be the...
Well, it has to be Saturday because in India they can only come on Sundays.
Well, right, the 26th and 27th, that weekend.
Okay, so our options are the 19th of March, the 26th of March, or we could even go to the beginning of April on the 2nd. Let's go ahead and
How about the first weekend in April?
Let's do the 19th of March. Is that okay? Or are there any objections?
No objections.
It's fun. We are okay with study.
No objections from my low side also.
Oh, okay, everyone, hold on, everybody. Okay. Dr. Gupta, go ahead.
I won't be here on the 19th or the 26th, and I was going to ask Aarti if she was going to be able to sit in for me.
For May or March?
We are talking about March. Yes.
Yeah, all of those dates are fine for me. So whatever works for everyone else.
All right, so Aarti will replace me. How is that?
All right.
So March 19th and 20th?
March 19th.
Yeah, that seems to work.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Well, I guess I'll see you all then.
Yes. Thank you.
It was
Alright. See you, everyone.
It was a very good meeting.
Yeah, thank you all for attending.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, see everybody then.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Especially thanks to Dr. Aarti.